Hello, welcome to the first ever Business Town Hall. My name is Brianna Saldivar. I'm a full-time student here at Nevada State College, where I'm majoring in business. I will be the moderator for the town hall today. We'll be hearing from faculty, staff, and guests about various aspects of the business program and the goals for the future. Thank you to everyone at home for watching, and I'm excited for the action-packed session planned today. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce our 8 panelists, starting with Director of Business, Dr. Neil Longley.
Hi, everybody.
Some business faculty, Professors Heidi Batiste, Michelle Regent-Sebest, Bo Lang, and Raul Tapia. Also, we have Director of Career Services at NSC, Nicole Wesley, an alumnus of Director of Department of Business and Government Affairs Manager at American Medical Response, Damon Schilling, owner and CEO of Las Vegas Lights Soccer Club, and friend of NSC and the Business Department, Brett Lashbrook.
Viva Lights.
Now we will go around the table letting each one of our panelists formally introduce themselves, what they do, and their ties with the Business Department here at Nevada State College. We'll start with Dr. Neil Longley.
Thanks, Brianna. Very pleased to be here today. I want to welcome you and echo what Brianna said. Want to welcome you all to the first ever Business Town Hall. And the reason why we're doing this is this is a pretty exciting time for us here in business. And we've had a lot of change. We've had a lot of positive change. We've had a lot of growth. And we're really moving in for us, I think, to a new era. So this is something we would have done on ground had we not been in a COVID environment. But given that we are, it's virtual, but we're hoping that we can still, get the same messages across here, answer some of your questions. So it's a great time, we believe, for business at Nevada State College. So as Brianna had said today, we're going to hear from the faculty a little bit in terms of the types of they do, areas of teaching. You may have met all of our faculty, you may have not. So we have all of us in the same room today, at least the same virtual room. We're going to be talking a fair bit as well about internships. As Brianna said, we're going to hear from a couple of leaders in the business community. So, I think something there for everyone. And really, we hope the hour you're spending with us here will be very much worth it to you. And I think there's a lot of things we're doing, and we're really looking forward to the next hour we can tell you a bit about that. So in terms of my background, as Brianna said, I'm the director of the Department of Business. I've been here just a little over 1 year, so it was September of 2019. I spent the previous 15 years in the business school at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst, Massachusetts. Very excited to come to Nevada State. I saw this as a wonderful opportunity. It was a college, a program on the rise. I'm a first generation college student myself, so very committed to the mission of the college. So for me, this was a perfect place to come at the right time. So and it has proven everything I had hoped, other than COVID. Everything I had hoped for has turned out. So, but we're surviving and we're managing. And I think it's part of sort of the way ahead for us. Some really fundamental changes that have happened in the last couple of years. One is that, and I know this may not mean as much to students, but we've become our own department. So we're now the Department of Business, and for us, that's really important because we have a greater level of autonomy now, of independence. We have a stronger presence, I think, by being our own department. We were actually a field within the Department of Social Sciences, so we're really pleased that we now can go out there with our own kind of independent message and really use that to our advantage. We've had, as part of our growth here, 3 new faculty members, full-time faculty members in the past year, really, including myself. You'll get to meet all of our faculty members here in a few minutes, obviously. And I also think it's important to note that President Patterson and Provost Shields have been very strong proponents of business and of us growing, and really want to see us, engage the business community, have a stronger presence within the campus community. And that's where we're headed. That's sort of our mandate and our mission: growth internally. We want to be bigger, and we want to be better. And ultimately, it's about you as the students in terms of making your experiences at Nevada State and making your degree more valuable. Okay, that's really kind of the bottom line for us. So I want to spend just a couple of minutes here talking about where we're headed in the next year or so. Issues that probably will affect many of you. I think one of our big directional pieces here is our curriculum. And we've been undergoing the last year with the faculty a fairly extensive review of our curriculum, where it's been, where we want to head. And so we've got some pretty major changes we're going to roll out for all of 2021. Okay? These processes do take some time. And without going into all the details, I think a couple of key issues here. One is that we're really building our curriculum around what we would call the 4 pillars of business education. The pillars that every undergraduate student in this country needs some grounding and foundations in. So accounting, finance, management, which in itself has several subfields, and marketing. And as part of that, we're also bringing in faculty that make sure we do have coverage in all those fields of full-time, generally in the absence of COVID, on-ground, on-site faculty members. And so we've been very fortunate to have been able to hire some new faculty members. We also potentially have one in the works here, a new faculty member in the finance area. That's still in progress. We hope that goes as planned. And if it does, we will have another new faculty member in finance come fall of 2021 as well. So that's kind of that's the principle. The other thing we're really doing here is we're trying to kind of change the degree paths for students. Right now, probably many of you know that our curriculum is very heavily based on required courses. I think we have something like 17 required courses in the business area. And what that does is that as students, it doesn't leave you many options, many credit hours left, quite frankly, to specialize. So we're substantially paring down the number of required business courses to really some of those core elements that I talked about earlier, the true foundations. That'll give you more opportunity to specialize in areas of business that are particularly interest to you. And I'm sure many of you are seeing, as you started to go through your program, that business is kind of a big generic word. And within that, there's all these very specialized subfields that are often pretty different from each other. Finance people and marketing people tend to do really different things. And while they may be academically in a business department or business school, they do very different things, and students will come and maybe want to specialize in one or the other. And we want to give those students an opportunity to do that. We're pretty excited as well. We're in the late planning stages of introducing what we think are some fairly innovative and unique specialty tracks. One of them that Dr. Batiste has been heavily involved in with diversity and human resource management, a track in management and leadership, a track in marketing with Dr. Liang now with us, a track in sport business, which has been one of the areas that I focused on when I was at UMass. And hopefully a track in financial services, providing we are successful in hiring our new finance faculty members. So we really believe that curriculum-wise, we're going to get students through quicker with more specialization. And one of our goals here is to is to make sure students are on a degree path that when they come to us, there's a reasonable way for them to get out. And the bottlenecking that sometimes we have seen with the required courses in the past, we hope that will be a thing of the past. So I will close here, but the kind of the final word, I guess, from my end is that we really are seeing our program as the foundations of it are, we want our undergraduates to come out of here as well trained across the fundamentals as any undergraduate business major in the country. And that's really where we want to head. We think we're already a long ways there. We want to do even better. We're a professional program, so everything we do really has to have a job-related focus. Yeah, that's quite frankly the reason why many students come into business, and rightfully so. A job-related focus, or experiential work, internships, all these things become crucial. And really for us, it's jobs in Nevada's economy, in Southern Nevada's economy. Our economy here is different. Like any region has different sectors, very much of a service-based economy, and we always have to be cognizant that most of our graduates are probably going to stay in the area and work for employers in Clark County, Southern Nevada, or certainly Nevada as a whole. And that's something that's important to us as we look at curriculum, what students really need to know to work in Nevada's economy. I'm going to leave it there, Brianna, and I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Longley. Next, we're going to go to Dr. Heidi Batiste.
Thank you, Brianna. My name is Heidi Batiste, and I teach management courses in the business department. Just a little bit about me. I was raised in Arizona in a small copper mining community. So I'm from a rural background. I was the first in my family to graduate from college. Not only in my immediate family, but in any known extended family as well. Following my high school graduation, I joined the United States Army. I served 2 enlistments for a total of 7 years. The military exposed me to great leadership and really the idea of mentorship as well. I left the military many years ago, but my service will always have a special place in my heart. I always enjoy connecting with our students who are veterans. We have quite a few here at NSC. So if you're a veteran, come find me and let's talk. It was in my Army career that I began sort of my path in human resource management. I completed my bachelor's degree while on active duty and a master's degree after that. I continued my career in human resource management and operations for several years. And in 2011, began teaching management courses part-time here at Nevada State College while working as a full-time professional. As an instructor, I was able to deliver material that I was teaching to students from a real life context. I found myself getting excited by the idea of just having the ability to teach and mentor students and really make a difference. So I decided to go back to school so that I could pursue this full time. I finished my PhD in workforce development and organizational leadership from UNLV in 2016 and joined Nevada State full time the following year. I feel super fortunate to be part of such a special campus community. There are lots of exciting things happening at NSC as well as within our department. As Dr. Longley mentioned, we've added new faculty members. And as a result, we've been able to offer more specialized courses for our students. As he mentioned, we'll be rolling out the human resource management concentration. And I'm obviously really excited about that opportunity because I know firsthand that our students are very interested in going into human resources. So we'll be able to really help prepare them by offering more specialized courses in areas like recruitment and diversity and inclusion management, compensation, training and development. So lots of fields that students are really interested in. So that's great. Now that I'm a full-time instructor, I work really hard to stay current in the field. I presently have the privilege of serving on the International Board of Directors for Society for Advancement of Management. I just started my term this summer, so I look forward to bringing a new perspective there, representing Nevada there with colleagues from other colleges and universities all over the world. I'm always looking for opportunities to mentor students and others. Dr. Regency Best, who you'll meet shortly, and I are currently working on a research project with a couple of students examining employee perceptions of diversity, equity, and inclusion in the Southern Nevada workforce. We think that will give us a good picture of the workforce diversity landscape in Southern Nevada, but also help inform our curriculum so that we are, so it helps ensure that we're meeting the business community's needs here in the local area. I think that's certainly one of the ways that Nevada State offers a distinctive value to our students. They get to know us, they get to work with us, they get to participate in these collaborative research and consulting projects that coincide with the business community's needs. That's really it. That's me in a nutshell. I look forward to meeting those of you who I haven't met yet. And for those that I do know, thank you guys all so much for tuning in.
Thank you, Professor. On to Dr. Michelle Regency Best.
Thank you very much, Brianna, and thank you, Heidi, for bringing up our research. I appreciate that. So just briefly, I'll give you a little bit about my background and then how it applies to what I teach and what I do. So I actually come from Southern California, the apparel industry, the manufacturing side of the apparel industry, to be more specific. In my earliest jobs, I was a production manager for a couple of small startup labels that did not last very long at all. And from there, I went to a more major label where I had the opportunity to do domestic production, where I was kind of in my car driving around, checking out sew factories and cut factories, and basically ensuring that we were meeting quality standards and that our product was being delivered to our customers on time. After several years of driving around for 15 plus hours a day in my car, I decided I needed a change, and I found a company that was actually $1 billion a year sports lifestyle company who was also looking for a domestic production manager, and driving didn't seem to be something that I had to do too much of. So I jumped on it and I was lucky to get the position. And about a month into that position, I was told that there was going to be a little bit of travel involved, but it was going to be on an international level. And so I went from traveling in my car for 15 hours a day to being on planes for about 15 hours at a stretch. I ended up being the vice president of global production for a couple of the labels beneath this brand. And as such, I was able to travel around the world on somebody else's dime. But I got to meet a lot of neat people. I got to understand US customs compliance and laws and how to apply US ethical policies in other countries. And also a lot about cross-cultural communication, primarily what not to do. And because of that, I went back to school for my master's in management. And my thesis was really focused on creating a training manual for those in my organization who had not conducted business on an international level yet. And I thought it would be a great way to help them not make the same mistakes that I did. Between all of my positions in production, did that for about 20 years or so. And during that time, I was doing some adjunct teaching here and there in Southern California. And I was also doing a little bit of consulting on the side because, like Dr. Batiste, I really do believe in the mentoring side of things and helping wherever I can. I was really lucky to find a position in Austin, Texas, teaching for a small liberal arts university. Initially as an adjunct, and then I was brought on full-time as a visiting professor of management. And there I was able to take part in their entrepreneurship program. I was able to teach business communications, international business, org management, a whole bunch of really cool classes. And what I learned was it's all about helping the students realize what they want to do when they get out there. And while I felt like I was making a difference, I needed to do a little more. And so I went for my PhD while I was teaching at the university in Austin. And my PhD ended up being in organizational management. My dissertation research was on small business management, leadership skills. And I think a lot of that had to do with what I saw happen to those labels I worked with in my early career and why they weren't successful. I found out about the position at NSE, and honestly, there were so many reasons to want to come. Proximity to California, I have to be honest, was one, because my family's all there, but I didn't want to live there, so it was close enough. But more importantly, the culture here really, really speaks to me. The student population and I have a lot in common. I too, like Dr. Longley and also like Dr. Batiste, was a first generation college student. In addition to that, when I was rising up through the ranks during my tenure in my positions, I had to overcome a lot of obstacles. There weren't a lot of women doing it at that time. And so I understand having to overcome some sort of adversity. And I like to share those experiences with the students. On a professional level and on a personal level. When I was able to come to NSC, I was asked what I'd be interested in teaching. And one of the classes that really spoke to me was change management. In all of my classes, I offer experiential learning projects, but in change management, of all times to be teaching that class, I really am hoping that I'm able to instill the ability to be agile and be accepting of change. So the project that I put through this particular class, I asked students to go find an organization that they work for, that they want to work for, that might be a family business, but is experiencing a challenge. And obviously there's no shortage of that considering what's going on in the world right now. And I put them together in teams and they created change to address that challenge. And what happens from there is we use some theory and we step by step address the challenge by incrementally making change in the organization. But the final outcome is they have this presentation that we upload to YouTube and that we're able to share with the organization or anybody else who wants to see how to address a specific challenge through change in an organization. And I think the process is probably daunting. I love it. They love it when it's done. But what's great about it is I'm sending students out into the world with I can do this. I can accept change. Change isn't scary to me. This is something that's pretty okay and normal. And hopefully they're the conduits within their own organization who are able to propel the company through change without being too scathed, if you will. So I think that's it for my time. I appreciate you listening. I'm going to throw it back to Brianna.
Thank you, Dr. Regents, the best. All right, and now we're going to go to Dr. Bo Lang.
Thank you, Brianna. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. This is Bo Liang. I'm a new faculty member at the Department of Business. I'm teaching marketing principles in this current semester. Next, I will give you a short bio of myself. I was born and grew up in China. I came to the US in 2007. I earned a PhD in marketing from the University of Utah and an MBA from Clemson University. Prior to my academic career, I worked as a product manager at Tom Online, a mobile internet company in China, and then a business researcher at Clemson University. As the first person in my family to attend college, I was so excited to join Nevada State College. The college has been dedicated to providing the support and guidance that helps first generation and underrepresented students thrive. Regarding research, my primary research interests are in the areas of consumer behaviors in online environments. Specifically, I use website analytics, content analysis, and statistical modeling to analyze social media and website data. I want to know what consumers are talking about on social media and how companies should connect with their customers to build their brand awareness, increase sales, and drive website traffic. I love teaching and sharing ideas. Before I came to USC, I taught marketing courses such as global marketing and internet marketing at the University of Utah and St. Vincent College, a small liberal arts college in Pennsylvania. I'm passionate about helping students realize their full potential. My teaching style is very hands-on. I want students to be able to apply what they have learned to real-life problems. An emerging trend in marketing is analytics or data-driven decision-making. Training in analytics helps students strengthen their skills in quantitative reasoning and higher order thinking. In my marketing principles class, I use real-life quantitative problems to help students build their analytical skills. These problems are short descriptions of decisions faced by marketing managers. Each description includes quantitative information such as marketing share, cost, sales revenue, and profit. I asked students to solve each problem by using Excel. In the same class, students also work on a semester-long group project, selecting an established company and developing a marketing plan for a new product. By doing these projects, students could build their skills in business, research, and marketing strategies. To sum up, my industry experience, academic training, and hands-on teaching enables me to provide students with powerful learning experience in digital marketing, marketing analytics, and social media marketing. There's a growing demand for jobs in these areas. Our new curriculum will help students build digital skills and be better prepared for future jobs. I'm so happy to speak with everyone today. So back to Brianna.
Thank you, Dr. Lang. All right, and we have Dr. Raul Tapia too.
Hi, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us. So I'm actually entering my 5th year, which I think makes me the elder statesman of the department, which is kind of scary, but still super exciting, right? So a little about myself. I'm originally from El Paso, Texas. I'm born and raised, and I did all my degrees there. So I got my bachelor's, master's, and PhD at the University of Texas, El Paso, which was a driving force in me wanting to come to Nevada State College. Just the typical demographic of students. I, like most of my fellow faculty members, was a first-generation college students in a predominantly Hispanic community. And being an NHI institution here at Nevada State College, the student demographic and population is extremely dear to my heart. This is representative of the culture and community that I grew up in. And being able to do things to help them grow and be successful and help their families is something that I'm extremely passionate about. So a little about my business background. After graduating with my master's degree, I ended up moving to Houston, following friends because I really didn't know what I wanted to do, right? So I followed friends to Houston and ended up working for an auditing firm, which gave me this, or a public accounting firm, specifically in auditing, which gave me immense just accounting work experience and background on how business works, right? So I got to audit all different types of companies, public companies, private companies, Fortune 500 companies, billion-dollar companies, small, little mom and pop shops, and just seeing the same characteristics that businesses have to be successful I like showing my students those practical aspects of business. Um, public accounting has quite a bit of turnover. Currently, it's at 97%. So you burn out, and I ended up burning out. One of my old faculty members at the University of UTEP called and said, "Hey, we're starting this new PhD program in accounting. Do you want to be the first to go through the program?" And it gave me a chance to go back home. Family is huge to me, so I jumped on the opportunity. A really interesting fun fact is while getting my PhD in accounting, I was only one of 50, or about 50 Hispanic PhDs in accounting at the time in the nation. So being able to be part of that demographic and just having I don't take lightly the position I'm in and the opportunities I've had. So having that background to show my students the possibilities is really fun and really exciting for me. So as I mentioned before, this is my fifth year here at Nevada State College, which is really exciting. I love my students to death. So I predominantly teach the accounting classes. Brianna is one of my students right now, which is super exciting to see her doing this. So I teach the accounting classes. I teach an IS course, Introduction to Information Systems, where we learn Excel and whatnot. And I also am the instructor for a special topics in accounting class, where we do community engagement, and I am the site coordinator in coordination with the Nevada Free Tax Coalition, where we provide free tax returns for our community, which I think is extremely important. I think us as a faculty have made a concerted effort of bringing practicality and experience into our classrooms and showing our students what it's like to have to work, right? To develop those soft skills, and which I think is one of the cool things about our program. Damon actually took that class with me, and I think a lot of the feedback that I get from that course is it's their favorite course because it's real life. And I think a lot of the job as instructors is not only to teach, but also develop good citizens, right? And having opportunities for students to work in the community and understand the needs of our community is extremely important. And so I take great pride in developing things like that for our students to do. In addition to that, I'm also the coordinator of our internship program. And, we are trying to give our students as much experience as possible. We have an amazing, brilliant, I cannot emphasize enough how great she is. A manager of our internships, Noel Garcia, who works with Nicole Wesley, who will speak right now, who is just out there trying to find our students internships and giving them opportunities. We currently have internship spots with just a number of various organizations around both Henderson and Las Vegas, Seven Hills Hospital, Clark County Wetlands, Enterprise, Massage Envy. We just are currently placing a student in Northwestern Financial Group. We have LVGA, we have just a ton of opportunities where we are extremely excited to put our students in. So I'm also the faculty advisor for our SAM Club, which, as Dr. Heidi Batiste mentioned, she is on the national board of. And that's another great opportunity for our students, where we have in recent years taken them to compete in case study competitions, where they have actually placed in the national competition against hundreds of different schools across this country, showing the caliber of students that we do have here at the college, that they can compete with any other students across this nation, which is really exciting. In addition to that, we've been taking them to present research. Dr. Batiste has done a really good job in her current classes of encouraging research and presenting at these national conferences. I have actually published 2 papers with students within this past year in international journals. Just exciting opportunities for our students. I actually have another revise and resubmit that we're submitting hopefully this week that will get accepted this year as well with another student. So just giving our students these opportunities to see what's out there, different avenues of business is really exciting for our program and great opportunities for our students. So that's what I have.
Thank you, Professor. And now we have Nicole Wesley, Director of Career Services here at Nevada State College.
Thanks, Brianna. So as mentioned, my name is Nicole Wesley, and I'm the director here of the Career Services Center. And I'm going to give a very brief introduction of our Career Services Center resources and services. So this is a list of the main services and resources our office provides students and alumni. So we help students and alumni with their major and career exploration and planning. We also help students with searching for volunteer job and internship opportunities. As Dr. Tapia just mentioned, we have an internship manager in our office, Noel Garcia, that helps students with their internship search. Internships are very, very vital to help students get hands-on relevant experience in the field that they're interested in going into after they graduate. We also help students with resume and cover letters. I know those materials don't sound exciting, but they're very, very vital as job application materials to make sure that you're crafting those materials appropriately so that you have a good chance of getting your foot in the door for an interview to potentially land that opportunity that interests you. We also help students with interview advice and preparation, as well as helping them develop a professional network and getting them connected to professionals and experts in the fields that they want to get into. Down the line, if you're interested in graduate and professional school, our office also assists with that. And we also have some great online platforms that students and alumni are able to use as well. So if any of those resources interest you, definitely schedule an appointment with us virtually this fall or spring semester. This is how you can go about scheduling a virtual career advising appointment. Just go onto our website, nsc.edu/career. You'll find our Calendly appointment link where you can self-schedule your own appointments. Our virtual appointments are via Zoom or phone, and you can choose which you prefer. Beyond our one-on-one advising with students and alumni, we also provide a lot of career workshops and events to our students and alumni. We also work very closely with our employers and organizations that are looking to recruit and talk to students like you for their volunteer, internship, or job opportunities. So you might see here on this slide, here's a group of students that in the past have attended some of our Be Career Ready events, our career-related events. We incentivize students and alumni. So this fall semester, students attend at least 5 of our virtual events. We have a lot of events this semester. Students will be able to receive free NSC business cards, as well as an NSC wallet to help when they go out and make professional contacts. I also just wanted to briefly show you some upcoming events we have specifically with our employers. So as mentioned, not only do we help students with their career advising needs, but we also work very closely with our employer and organization contacts that are looking to recruit college students and alumni. So these are just some upcoming flyers that you can RSVP for in Handshake. For those of you that are curious about what Handshake is, all NSC students and recent alumni already have a Handshake account. Handshake is your career management platform. It's all encompassing, so you can find jobs and internships and apply to them directly on Handshake. You can look up and RSVP for career fairs and career events, find helpful career handouts, research employers, and so much more. So if you want to get on Handshake, again, know that you already have an account and you can log in per the instructions that you see here. I will also mention too that our office does send out a monthly email to all current NSC students and alumni about really important career-related events and resources. So we do send that email out. You should have all received it earlier this week on Monday. We send it out the last Monday of each month about upcoming career-related events, our employer events. We have an upcoming career fair hosted by UNLV. Their Southern Nevada Career Fair is happening this October that NSC students and alumni are welcome to attend. We also highlight featured handshake job and internship postings, on-campus student worker positions, highlight employer organizations, and so much more. So definitely keep an eye out for those. The last thing I'm going to briefly mention is that we connect when we talk to our recruiters and our employers. What they tell us is that they're looking for college graduates that have a degree plus relevant experience to look competitive for job openings as recent college graduates. What does relevant experience mean? Those relevant experiences tend to be things you get outside of the classroom. So those things include things like internships. Dr. Tapia mentioned earlier, work experiences, whether that's part-time or full-time work, volunteer opportunities, being part of clubs and organizations like the SAM Club here on campus. Those are things that are going to help you boost your resume, connect you to professionals and individuals in the field, help you learn about more opportunities and experiences, and it's going to help you build your skill sets to make you a more qualified job candidate post-graduation. Lastly, I'll just leave you with our Career Center location and contact information. If you're interested in scheduling a virtual appointment with us, we look forward to meeting with you soon. All right, I will send it back to Brianna.
Thank you, Nicole. We will move on to Brett Lashbrook, owner and CEO of Las Vegas Lights.
Hi, everyone. I'm really glad I went after Nicole because I want to hit on so many of the points to reemphasize what she said and how it parallels my own career. So just a little quick background. Born and raised in Kansas City, and like probably a lot of teenagers, loved sports, but didn't have a fastball or had 2 left feet. And so I got into how do I get involved in sports, right? I want to be involved in sports, and I watch Sports Center, and I even have a subscription to Sports Illustrated. So I know everything about sports, everything you need to know, so I could work in sports. And so I quickly realized, through my first internship, how much I didn't know and how much this is a business and how much there is behind the scenes to put those games on in a successful manner. So I think my mother once called me a professional intern. I think I had 4 or 5 internships from high school through graduate school. And I'll tell you what, it is the foundation of the success that, I've had, quote unquote, later in my career has been built to those internships. So I can't emphasize enough, use that opportunity while you're in school to try and get as much relevant experience as possible. So again, my background, grew up in Kansas City, always loved soccer, and started getting internships that turned into jobs with multiple soccer organizations. And I spent 7 or 8 years in New York City as first the legal counsel for Major League Soccer, and then the special assistant to the commissioner of Major League Soccer, which was a wonderful insight of how do you grow the sport of soccer. And the world's most popular game is still growing by leaps and bounds here, but how do you expand? How do you put stadiums? How do you get teams? How do you put sponsorships? How do you get television, et cetera, et cetera? And so that led me to eventually get involved in, quote unquote, minor league soccer. And I had family that had always lived out here in Las Vegas. And I quickly realized Las Vegas was the 2nd largest city in the world without a professional soccer team. And Cashman Field was a 10,000 seat stadium right in the heart of the city. And so in 2017, we launched Las Vegas Lights FC. I like to call it your professional soccer team right here in our community. And listen, we are a small and medium-sized business. There are all kinds of challenges, not just COVID related, but there's a lot of things going on a Saturday night in Las Vegas. And from a business perspective, how do we market that? How do we finance that? How do we operate that? How do we have all these moving parts, from partners to season ticket holders to media, et cetera, et cetera? This is a business, and I hate to say that because everyone wants to think it's just Saturday night and the great kick and the great score and the great goal. But this is a 365-day a year business. And so all these aspects that you'd be learning in higher education, they all come to wearing multiple hats to be able to work at an organization like this. I'd also be remiss if I didn't talk about, we have a great relationship with Nevada State College. You know, be bold, be great, be state. And we've had interns from NSC before, and it is something that we want to continue to grow. We have both in-school internships. We have, you know, graduate internships that have paid stipends attached to it. We love local students that understand the community, also love the sport, but also want to get that additional experience. I'll call it off the field. So if you're out there listening and you were like me when you were in your late teens and early 20s, if I love sports, how do I do it? Would love to have you reach out and figure out how can we work together and provide that experience. And also you guys help us to continue to grow here in downtown Las Vegas. The last thing that I'll say is, I think a business degree is the best degree you can get. And I'll tell you why, because it just encompasses every single aspect of no matter what career path you go into and what career path you choose, there is an aspect of business. And I know it's, you know, it may not sound as sexy, but there's always a profit and loss. There's always an analysis on what that return on investment is. There has to be sustainability in any type of industry, any type of business. And so it all comes back to all of these things that all the professors are talking about today, that really is the foundation of any entity that you'd be interested. So I just can't see how you can go wrong getting a business degree. And you can really translate that into a lot of different areas. And I'll say one last thing. Someone made a funny joke, right? How marketing is so different from finance. It's true. You really get a really diverse background in the business school, but I think it all helps to make a really well-rounded graduate when you go back out in the workplace. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Lashbrook. All right, and now we have Damon Schilling, alumnus and government affairs manager at American Medical Response.
Hey, good afternoon, or good morning, everybody. Thank you for the introduction. As she said, my name is Damon Schilling. I'm an alumni of Nevada State College, graduated in 2018. Currently, I'm the government and community affairs manager for both AMR and MedicWest Ambulance Company here. I started off back in 2003 providing it as an EMS provider. I was an EMT, AEMT, and eventually worked myself up as a paramedic. And I can tell you as a paramedic, there's only so much you can go through, both mentally and physically. We see some of the worst in the world. Most recently, you know, yesterday we talked about 1 October. We kind of had a little bit of a memorial ceremony for 1 October. And having lived those kind of things, I knew that my body, my mind wasn't long for being a field provider. At some point, you have to make a change. And so I entered into an entry level kind of like leadership position here at AMR, and I watched and I saw a lot of things happening. And, you know, as Brett talked about, there is really a lot of things that happen when you start to transfer from the field aspect to the business aspect side of it. And you really get opened up to this whole world. And I was hearing terms and seeing things that were just, I was totally clueless to. I know how to treat the human body. I know how to interact with a patient. I know how to take them from point A to point B. But I knew the human body. I knew how to be a medical provider. I didn't really understand business. And I was watching a lot of leadership that was working on promotions and they were getting bypassed. And these guys had 20, 25 years of experience, but they were getting bypassed for people who not only had experience, but also had, you know, degrees, whether it be a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. And so I knew that in order for me to continue to succeed in an upward momentum and climb the ladder, something needed to change. And I knew that change was going to be a degree. And so for me, I started to really think, well, what kind of degree can I get? What's going to really matter? I'm really familiar with the industry of EMS and medicine and working with hospitals and things. So I was like, I know what I need to get. I need to get a business degree because once again, you know, as Brett talked about, you're a jack of all trades really when you get a business degree. You do understand everything, or you have a little bit to dabble in. As you know, as all the previous speakers talked about, there's marketing, there's finance, there's accounting, there's HR, there's change management, there's all of these things that kind of play into every business, regardless of what type of business line it is. So I was like, that's the degree for me. That's the degree. So that's what I'm going to do. And I found as I started to enter into my first years at Nevada State College that I was really gaining what now I call the 70-30 advantage. And what it is after you get your business degree, you really have a 70% understanding of everything that occurs within a business. And then that other 30% are the nuances of either the specific industry or even the specific position, because you'll notice that certain managers and certain leadership positions have certain key responsibilities. So while I'm in charge of government affairs and community relations, our operations manager deals more in the financial and deployment side of it. I still know those things. I still have to understand those things, because when I go out and I speak to politicians and other key stakeholders in the community, I have to be able to talk about those things. I have to be able to reference economics. I have to be able to reference statistics. I have to be able to talk about marketing things. And really, these are the things that help me truly contribute. I ask you to, each one of you, ask yourselves who's a student right now, how many times have you sat in a room? How many times have you been part of a conversation with some people in an industry that you're looking to be in, or a room, we'll say, of big wigs or key stakeholders, and you start going, oh crap, what are they talking about? And you kind of give that like smirk and that nod, and you hear a couple of things that you know about, but you're not completely familiar with. I was that guy coming up. And as I started to get my degree and I really started to become familiar with a lot of the terminology, not only was I that guy who was smirking in the room, I was a contributor. And my degree really helped me do that. And so when I was deciding what school, I was like, all right, I have CSN, I have Nevada State College, I have UNLV, and I have all of these other online options. So why Nevada State? Nevada State was one of those schools, as I did my research, not only do they appeal to the traditional students straight out of high school, younger, but they also really focus on the working professional and a family and a family-oriented person. And I happened to be both of those at the time, a working professional who had a 9-to-5 job. And I was just recently married when I started school in 2015. And my wife was pregnant. And so we were expecting our first child, and Nevada State was so accommodating to all of our needs and everything that we really needed. And they really have classes that meet everything, right? So they have online classes, they have morning classes, mid-afternoon classes, evening classes. And I found myself kind of attending a myriad of all of those different classes. And I never found myself saying, crap, I'm not gonna be able to do this. I'm not gonna be able to do that, because Nevada State always had an answer. And so it was something that was really appealing to me. There's other things that you're going to get when you're going to really want to take advantage of while you're there. Take advantage of all your classmates. Take advantage of being able to work in these group projects. I know we all hate group projects, but they are very much a reality when you get into the work field. And so it really helps you work with people. And believe me, even in the professional field, you do carry a lot of the workload, and somebody's always not doing their job. But at least you were trained to do it while you were in college. But not only that, I speak to a lot of people that I graduated with. They're actually still some of my closest friends, and we still network, because maybe they're looking to get into my industry. Maybe one day I'll leave this industry and look to get into something from them, one of their industries. But I still talk to them. I still take advantage of that networking. Nicole talked about all the different programs that Nevada State offers. I definitely recommend taking advantage of every single one of them, or at least as many of them as you can, because they really do matter. My job description, my resume, read like a job description. It really didn't describe any of the accomplishments I had. And I recently, probably about 8 months ago, applied for a promotion, and our president was like, I didn't get it, but that was okay. And he gave me, because the person who beat me out not only had experience, but also had a master's degree. So they had me edged out just by a little bit. But one of the things he told me is that, hey, you need to take advantage of some resume writing classes or anything that's out there, because it reads like a job description. And I know you have a lot of accomplishments that you should speak to. So do that. The networking pieces are huge. I mean, I network all the time. I am constantly talking to people like the governor of the state. I'm talking to local politicians, a lot of business leaders, a lot of business owners. I have a very good relationship over the years, just due to since 2017 with the Vegas Golden Knights. Maybe the Las Vegas Lights here soon, something like that. There's always opportunities there, but Nevada State College will open you up to a lot of opportunities. The networking, everything is worth it. When I look back and I look at everything that I learned at Nevada State College, everything that I have accomplished in my professional career, I can attribute back to Nevada State College. all of the classes. And you guys even have a little bit of a different program than I did when I graduated in 2018. And so like like Neil talked about, you guys have come a long way, and there's a good program that is going to build the foundation for you to be successful. And whether you work for an organization like I do, or you own an organization, like the Las Vegas Lights, there's a lot of opportunity. And I promise you that when you look back in 15 years, you're going to stand proud, and you're going to be really happy that you said, I graduated from Nevada State College, and it is doable. And I will tell you this, one of the things I'm definitely proud of is that I keep my diploma hung up here in my office, because I was a full-time worker. I was married, a father of a young child, and I was still able to graduate as a magna cum laude. So anything and everything can be done. The future is yours. Take advantage of it. No Nevada State College is there. They're going to help you. The degree matters, and you'll accomplish a lot in life. So with that, I'll turn it back over.
Okay. I'm going to interject here. Thanks very much, Damon. And the only person we haven't heard from yet is our moderator, Brianna. So Brianna, why don't you tell us a little bit about your perspective as a student and a bit of background, career interests?
Yeah, so hi everyone. Thank you, Dr. Longley. My name is Brianna Saldivar. I am a current full-time student. I'm majoring in business and minoring in communications and pre-law. So when I entered Nevada State College, I had aspirations of being inside the marketing field, but as I kind of got through the semesters, I kind of fell in love with a lot of different aspects of business. And my professors, all experts in their own individual fields, have supported me throughout my higher education experience, and really showed me each part of those, as we've talked through in this town hall. And then I also work for the Office of Institutional Advancement. So I've learned a lot about alumni relations, fundraising, foundational aspects of the college. So some things we don't really know as students. So that's another interest of mine. All in all, I know that once I graduate, I'll be a well-rounded student with both my work experience and also just my education here at Nevada State College. So whatever route that takes me in the business field, I think I'm going to be set. So that's a little bit about me, and I'm really happy to be here and moderating this town hall. Thank you.
Thanks, Brianna. I'll turn it back to Brianna. I think we're going to enter our question period here.
Yeah, so we're actually going to move on to our questions submitted by students. And the first question is to Dr. Lang. I've noticed the more entry-level positions require knowledge of broader tools like Tableau over Excel and PowerPoint. Is the department looking to expanding its IS requirements to more than IS 101 to have students graduate with a broader set of business-related computer skills?
Thank you, Brianna. It's true that the job market has a rising demand for data visualization skills. Tableau is a very popular data visualization tool. Tableau is free to download for college students and instructors. I love Tableau. I taught a Tableau course at St. Vincent College for 4 years. I have been using Tableau in my research projects. I will teach Tableau and Excel in Econ 261 and 262. They are Stats 1, Stats 2 courses. So if you are interested in learning Tableau and advanced functions in Excel, you may take either or both 2 courses. I will teach the 2 courses in this coming spring. Okay, back to you, Brianna.
Thank you, Dr. Lang. Next question is to Dr. Michelle Regents-Best, and it's, how should I decide what area within business that I should specialize in? It seems like there are a lot of choices: management, marketing, accounting, and so on.
It's true. And as both Damon and Brett said, we come out with these business degrees and we're like, gosh, what am I going to do with that? Well, my goal and mission is to help mentor the students to find their place that they're passionate about and that they can exercise out there in the world. And you got to start somewhere. So I always suggest sitting down with the students and doing a SWOT, a personal SWOT analysis of where their strengths are, what they like, And I marry that personally with some of the classes that they've taken. For example, Dr. Tapia's accounting class or Dr. Batista's management class. Sorry, Bo. And I'll say, what did you like about each of those classes? Let's talk about the areas that excite you. And somehow we're able to formulate a little plan between their strengths and also their likes that they take from classes and come up with some job titles. And then you can't just look things up, you have to experience, right? And so I will send them to Career Services and Nicole and say, let's find some people who will be willing to allow you to conduct an informational interview about these different positions that you think you might be interested in, so you can hear what it's really about. And then that's not enough as well. I also will suggest we need to do some internships, as many as you can. Now, as Damon said, sometimes you're working full-time and you're going to school full-time, and that may not be feasible. So another idea is doing short stints of volunteering at places, but really getting your feet wet and seeing what all these different areas have to offer for you. So before you're out there, you feel like you have your direction. And sometimes we go back to the drawing board and do the whole process again, but better to do it here while we're in school than out there after the fact. And so, yeah, that's usually how I like to do it. Thank you.
And I have a question for Dr. Heidi Batiste. I know it's important to build and maintain a network. What are some ways that I can go about doing this?
Well, I'm so glad you asked that question because it is so important. It's I believe especially important for students with or graduates with business degrees. And we talked about sort of the appeal of getting a business degree, right? It's wide open. You have lots of flexibility. You can look at it as sort of this open qualification, right? That you can just fall back on and go into, various different fields. But for that reason, it can also be really challenging. Unlike other professional degree programs like nursing and education, there's no prescribed or direct career path for business graduates. So networking is extremely important, as Damon mentioned earlier. So what can I tell you? Nevada State College does a fabulous job, offering opportunities for networking for our students, including career fairs. And really it's Nicole and her team, right, in Career Services that offer a lot of those formal opportunities for students to go out and start making connections with the business community. But there's things that we can do as well as faculty. So we really encourage, I explicitly state to my students that they need to look around them and realize that the people they're sitting next to in classes, as Damon mentioned, are their network. So it's not something you want to think about, a month before graduation. If you're a freshman or a sophomore, great. Start now. Really take advantage of those opportunities to connect with your classmates. So that as well as alumni. So our institutional advancement office, where Brianna works, does a fabulous job of connecting us to our alumni. So the business faculty, I can tell you, are very interested in being a part of those sorts of activities. Okay, that aside, I would say that networking is really about relationship building. I think sometimes I can only imagine sort of the kinds of things that students are thinking right now when it comes to networking. I can tell you from personal experience, it was really intimidating to me. Just the thought of, okay, I'm just supposed to walk up to people and start talking to someone I don't know. That's really awkward and weird. But I promise it does get easier. It is a little weird for everyone. So just know that we're all in it together. But networking, developing a network is not about connecting with people on social media, or I should say it's not just about that. In my view, and I'm sure you'll get lots of different perspectives on this, but in my view, networking is about relationship building, building meaningful relationships with people over time. I can tell you that, having just being able to, or staying plugged in, even during times like these when we're kind of stuck at home. I've gotten requests from students and professionals and people requesting Zoom meetings, even people I haven't met yet. So even as a first meeting, it's totally acceptable to reach out to people and ask for a Zoom meeting. And then I would just say too, to be patient. It takes time to really develop those contacts, and realize that it should be a reciprocal relationship as well. It's not just about you getting something from someone else, but it's give and take. And then also one last thing for students, specifically in the networking relationship, in that reciprocal relationship, most of the time, it's you needing something from someone else, right? It's, an opportunity to volunteer or an opportunity for an internship. But I would just say be really respectful of people's time. So if you're talking to, the head of an organization or a professor or whoever it may be, just be really respectful of their time and make sure that you're prepared for those meetings, whether they're formal or not. So though I could go on for hours about networking, and maybe we can do that sometime. But for now, that's what I would say.
Thank you, Dr. Batiste. And I have a question for Dr. Raul Tapia. Why are internships important, and is it worth it to do an unpaid internship?
So there's many, many, many reasons why internships are important, but I think I'll hit on what Brett, Damon, and Nicole had mentioned earlier on this development of soft skills that you need, right? So internships give you this, in your classes, you're gonna learn the theory behind the subject, right? So in accounting, you're going to learn how to create financial statements, do all of this good stuff. But internships allow you to develop that human relationship with everything, right? Those soft skills of time management, communication, networking, what Heidi just talked about, work ethic and responsibility. I remember my first internship, I thought I could wear whatever I want. And I went in wearing this clown shirt, and my boss was like, yeah, you got to go home, And it's those small little things that you learn on the job that you just don't get in school. And so I think those soft skills are extremely important. And so that's why we can't emphasize enough for students to try these internships, so that they can know what they're getting into, right? Another reason why internships are so important is it helps you decide whether or not you like what you're doing. So as everybody said, there's so many different things that you can do in business, right? And you don't want to take this job that you're going to hate for the rest of your life, right? So dabble in it. Go get an internship in accounting and see if you like it. If you don't, then try something else in accounting, right? So it gives you the opportunity to explore a little bit more in depth, because like I said, we can teach you the theory and we can give you our experience, but until you experience it yourself, you're not gonna know. Are unpaid internships important? I was reading a Forbes interview before this week on how just internships in general are important. So roughly around 65% of the students who get paid internships typically get a job within that same company. Unpaid internships are a little bit less. 40% of students who do unpaid internships get a job offer within that company. But it's still 40% of an opportunity, right? Which is better than zero. With the help of Noel in career services, we are pushing for paid internships for all our students. So we're making that a huge initiative. So when we ask for internship partners, we're asking, what can we do to possibly get them paid, so that, just for social economic reasons, especially hitting our demographic of students, it's important for them to be able to take on extra work and extra load and being compensated for that. So we are putting that push. But if you don't have the opportunity of getting a paid internship, unpaid internships still help you develop those skills that you need in order to succeed in the workforce. So absolutely. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tapia. I have a question for Nicole Wesley. I'm overwhelmed by the many career path options. How can I better discover more about myself and careers where I might fit?
Yeah, thanks, Brianna. That's a great question. So a couple things. First of all, We have in Career Services Focus 2, which is a great online major and career exploration and planning tool. So once you take the Focus 2 assessments, there's several assessments based off of your personality, your values, your interests, your skill sets. And then after taking those assessments, you'll get unique results that will match up to potential career options that you can explore and learn more about. So Focus 2 is a great resource that I would advise. Other online platforms, Occupational Outlook Handbook is great. Within Handshake, which I mentioned earlier, it has a career interest section. So even if you don't know quite yet what you want to do, you can fill out that career interest form. And basically you're telling Handshake, okay, I'm interested in finance and HR. I'm not really sure about HR, but I want to learn more about that. So I'm going to click on HR, and you can update your career interests so that Handshake can curate content for you based off of things you want to learn more about. Beyond online resources, I would also echo what others had mentioned during this Q&A section, and really explore and connect with people and opportunities. Connect with faculty, they're experts in your field. Connect with your peers and your students. Ask what they're doing or what they want to do after they graduate with their business degree. Attend our career events and career fairs, and be open to meeting with employers that you may not really know much about, and being open to seeing if there's any opportunities within business. And I can tell you, every company and organization has opportunities for business individuals and students. The other thing I'll mention too is we have a lot of great local Chamber of Commerces, and they have a lot of great virtual networking events during this time that you can connect and say, hey, I'm a college student at Nevada State College majoring in business. I'd like to learn more about what you do and your career path and what you like and what do not like about it. So those are just some of the things I would mention. And then lastly too, if you need help, you can definitely reach out to our Career Services Center and schedule a virtual appointment with us. Back to you, Brianna.
Thank you. I have a question for Brett Lashbrook. What type of attributes and skills do employers look for when hiring for internships or entry-level positions?
Good personality and hard work. I'll go back to Damon's comment about the 70-30 rule. I thought that was really well said, right? So, on day one, does that intern or that entry-level employee just have a basic understanding of the principles of business on that 70%? And do they have any head start in that 30%, or are they willing to learn, right? Half of the battle is just having a good attitude and being willing to roll up your sleeves and learn. I don't think any business is expecting someone to come in on their first day and lead us, but that good attitude will go so far. The other thing that I would say is people that can wear multiple hats are just so valuable. And it kind of goes back to my answer previously during the introduction of understanding all the different aspects of business. We're a small, medium-sized business. And so I always say, I don't have the bandwidth or the ability to have someone do operations full time. I only have 17 events. So I need to have people be able to wear multiple hats. And just because he's right off screen here, there's an individual on our staff who on game days, he essentially acts as our director of operations and getting the stadium ready and the visiting team and all the things that go on behind the scenes to throw a party for 8,000 people. But for those other 40 weeks of the year when we don't have a game, he's helping in our finance department and helping keep the machine running. And the fact that someone like that can take that business degree and wear multiple hats, those are really the types of traits you're looking for. You combine that with a good attitude and you're going to go places.
Thank you, Brett. I have a question for Damon Schilling. After I get my job, how do I separate myself and get noticed so I can advance in the organization or in my career in general? In your experiences, what strategies work well here?
Some of the best advice I was given by our president was really focus on the job that you have, right? So really get to know your position, get to really know what really entails that whole thing. That way you can be the best, because when you're the best at your position, you really start to get noticed by those that are around you. Know where you want to go, by all means. Know that what your next steps are going to be. But if you try to focus on your next steps too much, you're going to kind of fumble in your current position, and that people are going to notice, right? They always notice your performance. So really stand out in the position that you have an idea of where you want to go. Like Brett said, you always want to make sure that you have, the ability to go into multiple hats. Recently, we just had a manager who left in charge of our communications center. And so a couple of days a week, I wear a communications center manager hat, not just the government affairs hat. But do the best at your position, understand your industry, really get to know your industry, not only on the local level, but the national level too. That way, when you have these team meetings, you really can contribute to the conversation. You can really insight and get the juices flowing on a lot of different ideas and really help push a direction. Doing those things, you'll stand out to your bosses and then eventually their bosses, and that'll really help you propel. So know your industry, know your position, and do the best at that position that you can, and you'll start to stand out.
Thank you, Damon. And last but not least, I have a question for Dr. Neil Longley. What can I do as a student to stay in the know about the business world?
Thanks, Brianna. I think it's really an important question, because one of the things I always tell my students is your business students, you really need to know what's going on in the business world. So if you're not used to reading the business media, this is a really good time to start. And so what I do, for example, I have a lot of apps on my phone of major media outlets. I don't subscribe to them all. Most of them are paid services, but first 10 minutes of my day, I'll go Wall Street Journal, I'll go New York Times. Okay, I'll go down the list and say, I need to know what's happening, and I at least read the headlines. And we talk about walk the walk, talk the talk. All that. Well, this is kind of talk the talk in a sense, where you have to be able to, in a conversation, know what's happening. So if I say, what's happened to the markets this morning? You say, well, they did this or that. And there's obviously many parts or many answers to your question. And I know we're getting a little short on time, but for me, I think that's one of the key things. If you're a business student, you really want to be connected, and not just nationally or internationally, but locally. So the Review Journal, what's happening? We live in this community. What's happening in the local business community? And what's happening with Brett's business? And what's happening with all the other businesses in this community that have been impacted by COVID and the strip and all those kind of things? Again, even if you don't subscribe, I think you can at least know and understand some of the issues that are rising. If something particularly interests you, you could dig deeper on that issue, but it's really building this broader awareness. I'm gonna turn it back to Brianna. I know we're ending here, but before Brianna closes, I just wanted to thank Brianna for doing a great job as moderator. Brianna, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Longley. And as mentioned, that about wraps up the event for this afternoon. Thank you everyone for watching and attending to the first ever Business Town Hall. I'd like to thank the panelists for being here and the business department for setting up the event and letting us know a little bit what's in store for the business department here at Nevada State College. If you have any more follow-up questions, please seek any faculty member or Dr. Longley, and have a great rest of your day, Scorpions. Be bold, be great, be state.